while doing research for this theory, there is one detail from a FNAF game that held the keys to all the answers to Five Nights at Freddy's. And it will change the way you see the FNAF lore forever. So guys, it's me, Killman64, and like a moth to the Freddy Fast Flame, I am back with another Five Nights at Freddy's theory. And it's been quite some time, so much time in fact since my last theory, that 2 FNAF games already released, being Into the Pit and Secret of the Mimic. But we're gonna talk mostly about one of them, and that's Secret of the Mimic, because this game is the earliest in the timeline and answers a lot of questions that we had. Probably set in 1979. The reason why I say that because there was a trailer, and in that trailer had like a film reel-like thing that said 1979. So I'm going to go on a whim and say it is 1979. So yeah, now let's actually start talking about the theory. Before I completely jump into the theory, I'm gonna dip my toes in it first and talk a little bit about Secret of the Mimic. If you don't know, this game is where you play as a guy named Arnold, and you are trying to get the Mimic schematics for Fazbear Entertainment from Murray's Costume Manor, or MCM for short. So now that you're up to speed, I can now talk about it. And I may have mentioned earlier that this game answers a lot of questions, and I'm only going to talk about a couple of the questions that answers, and it being the animatronics' weird behaviors. A lot of people chalk them up to them being possessed, but I think there's more to it, and this game pretty much confirms it. That I think that a lot of the animatronics in Five Nights at Freddy's, or all of them, are using the Mimic's schematics, using the Mimic AI. And the reason why I say it, because I think no matter what ending you get in that game, I still think Fazbear Entertainment likely gets the Mimic schematics. I'm sorry to pause the video here, but I just want to elaborate on why I don't think it matters what ending you get, and Fazbear Entertainment will always get the Mimic schematics, is because there's a message in the game that says Fazbear Entertainment owns all of the property of MCN and everything in the building. So no matter what, they will still get the schematics, no matter what ending you get, and that's why. That's it. Go back to enjoying the video. Mostly because of the behavior of the animatronics in the games. And they line up a lot with the Mimic does in Secret of the Mimic. The Mimic is stuffing people in animatronic suits. In Five Nights at Freddy's 1, the phone guy says,
is the fact that these characters, if they happen to see you after hours, probably won't recognize you as a person. They'll most likely see you as a metal endoskeleton without its costume on. Now, since that's against the rules here at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, they'll probably try to forcefully stuff you inside a Freddy Fazbear suit.
And the Mimic did that in Secret of the Mimic. I said Mimic about 100 times, and that's going to be a theme with this video. And then in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, the toy animatronics have facial recognition.
Facial recognition, advanced mobility.
And we know that the Mimic can do that, and the animatronics can walk around during the day. And what does the Mimic do in Secret of the Mimic? He walks around. And I think that gives me a little bit of concrete information that they're probably using the Mimic schematics. But it doesn't give me the answer to why are the animatronics so fudging strong and fast in the games. Like, it's really weird. The animatronics can move very fast. I heard something from the grapevine that Foxy from FNAF 1 can run close to 30 miles per hour, which is insane. And also, the animatronics at their strongest can lift forklifts and work as a excavator. And I don't think any child entertainment robot should ever be that strong. Like, it's really weird, and you never really got answers for that. Not even the Secret of the Mimic could answer why the Mimic was so strong. But then I seen one thing from Five Nights at Freddy's AR, and that one thing was the flamethrower endoskeleton. And then it made me go down a rabbit hole that I didn't think I would ever come out of. But I did, and I came out with all the answers. And the answer to everything for Five Nights at Freddy's is Fazbear Entertainment is a weapons arm dealer. And now that you have that information, it probably answers so much. But you're probably like, you're insane. TequilaMan64, why are you saying that Fazbear Entertainment is a weapons arm dealer? That's stupid. Look at here, dog. The FNAF games are kinda stupid themselves.
But
I'm very confident in this. The reason why is because Fazbear Entertainment being a weapons arm dealer would make a lot of sense. That would answer why the animatronics are so strong, why they're so fast, because they were built to be sold to the government. And I think that's one of the reasons why Edwin was so weird about giving the mimic
2.
Fazbear Entertainment. He just didn't want to give it to him because it was supposed to be a secret that none of the employees were supposed to know, but they leaked it anyway.
Project update. I figured it out. There's a leak. Someone told them about M2. Well, they can't have it. Every copy has failed. I don't even know why it worked the first time. But it did. It's just not ready.
But I think that's one of the reasons. He knew deep down that Fazbear Entertainment was a weapons arm dealer. His father was telling him, don't trust Fazbear Entertainment.
Edwin, never forget. They're behind it. Don't trust them. Never tell them. They want to destroy you. Dad was right.
Or at least that's what people believe, and I even kind of believe that myself. And I think that lines up super well. They're a weapons arm dealer. Don't believe them. Because Edwin's father would have had to been in the war and would have knew that Fazbear Entertainment is a weapons arm dealer. And now you're probably like, that changes so much, but what about William Afton? What about William Afton? He was hired by the government. I want to ask you one very good question that no one can really answer. Why didn't the government ever investigate the animatronics? Why did they never investigate his weird remnant experiments? Why was he never arrested? And the answer is, the government knew the whole time. He was a key player in creating all of their best weapons. And I'm even gonna go as far as to say that the Fazbear's pizzerias were never meant to be just a pizzeria. They were meant to be testing grounds for the animatronics, for their robots. And the night guards are put in place to see how well they are at hunting, how good of an apex predator they are. And some succeed and some fail. Now back to William Afton, and I think he was actually paid by the government to do the remnant experiments. And the reason why, because they no one ever talked about them, and they would want super soldiers, what's they called, juiced up with remnant. So that's why he was looking for immortality. That was one of his biggest goals, to find it and to make that money from the government. But then one day, going back to the Five Nights at Freddy's 1 pizzeria, he never came back. The government lost their best scientists. They lost the person that was going to give them immortal super soldiers, and they couldn't do anything about it. And then we cut to around Five Nights at Freddy's security breach. After Fazbear Entertainment is dead, it's gone, everything was burnt down, the government lost their best weapons dealer, until someone had the thought to bring back Fazbear Entertainment. And that's why in Security Breach, the animatronics are so strong. They weren't built to be for a pizzeria, they were built for the government. They were built to be used as weapons of war. And the biggest thing is Five Nights at Freddy's AR. The special delivery service they had was designed to collect a remnant. And people believe this was for, like, I don't know, glitch trap to resurrect William Afton or something. I hate that that's even a thing, but it was never for that. It was always for the government to make more possessed robots, more weapons. And they'll keep doing it. So, I am pausing the video once more. That is because I forgot to talk about the Springlock Suits. And the reason why is because I was super focused on just the animatronics that I forgot. That the Springlock Suits are a key part. And you're probably like, oh, you couldn't find a good way to fit him into the theory. No, that is wrong. I can find a good way to fit him into this theory because I think that Springlock suits are prototype mech suits. And I have a tiny bit of evidence to point to this. It's because in Secret of the Mimic, one of the Springlock suits in the game has a arm cannon attached to it. I know that's just for like the puppet show for you to continue and do the mini game, but we know that Fazbear Entertainment owns the building, so they own those Springlock suit designs. And also, Springlock suits in the movie, I know I'm using the movie and they're like separate continuities, but I think this might apply to the game because of how they work, is that the Springlock suits are bulletproof and they're electric proof. And when he punches Michael, he like punches him like 2 to 3 feet away and he's stronger. So that's why I think Springlock suits are prototype mech suits. And what really drills this in is Baby. She says,
"You're inside something that came from my old pizzeria. I don't think it was ever used. At least not the way it was meant to be used."
And you're probably like, oh, if Fazbear Entertainment's a weapons arm dealer, wouldn't that mean it's the way it's intended to be used as a weapon? You are right, but Baby was made for a pizzeria and also was possessed by Elizabeth, meaning she would only think those suits were supposed to be used in the context of a pizzeria, not on the front lines. Boom. There we go. I rest my case. But I'm gonna pick that case right back up because I even forget to talk a little bit about security breach, which I'm going to mention a little bit of this right now. And security breach can be ran off a lot of the technology there's made for the government to use as weapons of mass destruction. But where does Gregory fit into all of this? He's a government spy sleeper agent, and in Ruin, Cassie is finding way too much information about them being a weapons arm dealer, and someone says Gregory's sleeper agent word, and he cuts the elevator. Boom, boom, solved. All questions answered. I rest my case. That's why I think the next Five Nights at Freddy's game is going to be Five Nights at Freddy's World at War. And I think that's what Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic was trying to tell us the whole time. But hey, that's not just a theory, it's a game theory. Thanks for watching.